Carbonites Gaming.
Welcome back, Knights, to another Summoners War video with myself, TorchHealer. Today we're going to be looking at some 4-star monster builds, some 2 and 3-star monster builds as well. I apologize, I already cracked my beer, I was a little impatient, and so if you got them, crack them and let's get into this video. So, first and foremost, if you're summoning for monsters, you're going to be using those mystical scrolls. They're pretty easy to get, to be honest with you. You can get them anywhere. You can get a ton of scrolls from events, or even just farming. Once you get those teams up to those like Giants B10, Dragons B10, Necro B10, you're going to be getting a ton of these mystical scrolls. And as you work your way through, you're going to end up with some of these legendaries and light darks and elemental scrolls as well. Right? So let's say, bang, you pop a scroll, you get a 3-star monster, right? Perfect. So, Mystic Witch, I personally would use her as a skill up for Megan, but let's get in and take a look at some of these monsters I have already and see kind of what we're dealing with on them. Alrighty, so first monster we're going to look at, obviously it lines it up by element, so we're going to be looking at some water monsters. Alright, so the first one, and I do believe I showed this in the last video. If you didn't watch the last video, it does go over the 2 and 3-star monsters. But Rina is an amazing support unit, right? The passive, creating a shield that's equivalent to 50% of her max HP, right? So you're going to build her on some high HP, some high defense, and then you want a bit of resistance in there. So with the Rina, especially for starters, you're going to be looking at like energy sets, with high HP, high defense, high resist. Speed doesn't really matter, as long as you can resist what's coming at you, right? So mine is on a shield, guard, and destroy set. So the destroy, just because it takes so long to wear her down, she can start kind of chipping away at some of that HP. And then guard, because, you know, it's extra defense, right? The shield set's just because I had 2 shield sets, or 2 HP percent shield runes. Now I was mentioning Megan. Megan is the same idea as the Bernard. Alright, so you're getting an attack buff, a defense buff, and an attack bar increase. So a lot of people are going to be putting their Megans on high speed, right? A little bit of HP, she doesn't really do much. You want her to be able to maybe tank a hit, but the biggest thing is getting that first turn. So I will admit mine is not built very well. And that's because I have my runes spread very thin. So I've got a lot of monsters that I want to be going faster. So my Megan's taking a bit of a hit. I do use her in Siege in the 4-star towers, 4-star and below towers. But, you know, she's what, 219, give or take? So she just gives a little bit of a buff. Nothing huge, nothing to write home about. Alright, but you do want to build her on like a Swift set. So I do have her on a Swift set and energy. And for some reason attack, defense, probably speed, yeah. So even right there, putting her on a 6-star Swift rune for speed, I would bump her up by 3 more speed, right? So it's pretty easy to work your way up. None of these runes are grinded, anything. They're just what I had when I pulled her, pulled the monster. But you want to put her on Swift, get that first turn, and just go with it, alrighty? Next, who's a good 4-star? Let's look at Melaka. So, Melaka is one of the bombers, right? So you'll hear about it, oh, you know, use a bomb team. So, bombers are great if they have high attack. They need 0 crit rate. All of their damage ignores defense because it's a bomb, it's not a hit. So you want some accuracy, you want speed, but mainly you want attack. So these are kind of those monsters that you can look at using those slot 4 attack runes for. So I have mine on Swift, Focus, just to get that extra speed so that I could put an attack rune on slot 2 to get that extra bit of attack, right? So you can go Fatal with some speed, you can go Swift, anything to get good rate of speed, good accuracy, and really good attack power. Right, so these once again are the kind of units that you can use these slot 4 attack percent runes on, because it's going to be really, really beneficial for them. And then I have them on focus just to get a bit of extra accuracy. Alright, who else do we got? Let's see if we can find another 3-star. So, we've got Bulldozer. Now, I had mentioned Bulldozer in the fire video. He's a damage dealer, and his damage is based on his defense. So if you're looking at him, you're one of those guys, you want defense, which I probably have, yeah, crit damage, and defense with as much kind of defensive and crit rate subs as you can get. Right, so mine's on a rage build, just because I want him to hit really hard. He is I use him with an Emesity, a Copper, and then himself. And Emesity buffs, and that's why he's on will, so that my Copper can hit first, and then Bulldozer comes and follows behind. But with him, speed isn't as big of a deal, depending on what you're doing with him. If you have him on some will, or as a newer player, get a bit of speed on him, get an Emesity, which is a 4-star Horus, the Wind Horus, and then get that Emesity on speed, and get Bulldozer on damage, right? So defense, crit damage, defense with some crit rate subs. The same idea goes for Copper. Let's see if I can find my Copper here. So Copper is the wind, this guy, right? So it's the same idea. You want crit rate, crit damage, and defense. I think my Copper's on some better runes than my Bulldozer is, but my Bulldozer's also on will, and Copper is not. They are both on rage, but these two Swift runes I have were kind of the best set I had for the crit rate that I needed. But yeah, so it's those kind of monsters where you can use those defense runes. You do want the crit damage for any damage dealer. Your slot 4 crit damage is ideal. But looking at those runes, you're going to see, you're going to get HP percents, you're going to get defense percents, attack percents, crit damage, and it's knowing where you want to put them, right? So your defense damage dealers, you're going to want to be putting those defense runes on, especially if you have one with higher defense for the substats, right? So once again, this isn't the best rune to have on him. If I had a better will rune that was crit damage, I'd probably put it on him, but I just got some defense in there anyways. So that's my Bulldozer, and once again, you can go on guard, anything that gives as much defense as possible, because that's how he's going to be doing his damage. Alright. Colleen, I'd mentioned that she is an amazing healer, and she is. First skill, decrease attack power. Second skill, block HP recovery. And third skill is a heal, and also an attack buff. Right, so it starts at 25%, and then because she is a 2-star monster, it's 2-star monsters that upgrade her skills. So you're going from 25% to 50%, and then it goes down to 3-turn cooldown with a 3-turn buff. So she's always got that attack buff, which is amazing. So most people, you can put her on... A lot of people use her in R5, so you can go Revenge, you can go whatever you want. Swift, if you want to use the attack buff more, or a bit tankier if you want to use the heal more. For myself, once I built Colleen in 6-starter, I put these runes on her, so she's on a Violent Endure set, and I don't know why it's on Endure, probably because one's HP, yeah, and one's speed, yeah, with some okay stats. So, Violent is great. Swift is good. For newer players, Swift, Energy, anything like that, because you want her to be tanky enough to survive, because she is a healer and she does give buffs. But you also want her to have enough speed where she's not going to be constantly lapped, right? So you can use her very easily in Necro, right? If you're building a Necro team and you need a healer, well, that first skill hits 2 times. Second skill hits 2 or 3 times, and the third skill's a heal. So you're already chipping away at those hits that you need on that Necro boss. So yeah, newer people, Swift, Energy, anything to make her tanky enough to survive, and then kind of get through the dungeon you're running in. Let's see, who's another important one? Vertiheal. So I don't have mine max skilled, although it's a lot closer than I thought it was. Um, so my Vertiheal is slow. I don't use it for RTA. I only use it for dragons. That's all that I need it for. So it's great because Vertiheal's passive, if you don't know, a critical hit increases your team's attack bar. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you have a 100% crit rate, and then that's it, right? So I have mine on a violent blade set. Get that extra crit rate from the blade, and I'll bet you they are garbage runes. So 29 speed, so I can get 10 more speed out of that one. 20% crit rate, that's not bad. For some reason, that's here. Another crit rate rune. Another bunch of crit rate, which I could probably use on somebody else. No crit rate at all, just attack, which I could probably switch out for an HP rune. But the speed on that's pretty okay. And then just a bit of HP and some speed. So once again, not great runes, right? Like I've got 5-star runes mixed with 6-star runes. None of them are maxed. They're just there doing what they need to do. But if you can get them on a violent set, it's going to be a good idea. Get that second turn, and you're going to be increasing that attack bar more and more every time you get that violent proc. But the big thing for Vertiheal is a bit of speed and crit rate. It doesn't matter. Attack doesn't matter. I know I've seen some that are really good attack, 100% crit rate, and 130% crit damage. And they do. They hit really hard. But if you can't do that, and as a newer player, you're not going to be able to do that, just 100% crit rate. If you have to go all blade, you go all blade, right? And a bit of speed, but every time he hits that critical hit, your whole team is gaining attack bar, so you're going to be able to turn cycle in that Dragon's Run. And he is a fusible unit, so you can fuse up skill ups. You don't have to summon them, you can just build them and start working on that Dragon's team once you get the runes set that you want for him. Who else can we take a gander at here? Colleen. So Colleen is a great unit. I've found myself using her more and more in the arena as of late. So her big thing is second skill ignores defense, and third skill does buffs, right? So a self buff for invincibility, a attack power for the entire team, and attack speed for the entire team. So this works really good with anybody that gains power off of attack power. So Lucians work really well. I use it with my Odin. So I'll tell you right now, the team I've been running for my arena offense has been Molong, which is totally free to play. Wusa, which is once again free to play. Kali for the buffs, and then Odin. So Wusa goes, pops the immunity and the shield. That's 2 buffs for my Odin, plus he's on will already, so that's 3. Molong jumps in, strips, stuns. Kali goes, buffs herself, gives herself invincibility, and now my Odin is full stacks and just deletes one monster. And then I survive the 3 hits from the others. And then Kali goes and deletes another monster, and then my Odin is full stack again, deletes the third, and then you just chip away at the last. So it works really, really well. I've gotten Conqueror 1. I was hanging out at Conqueror 3 for some reason, but I've been getting Conqueror 1 without putting a whole lot of effort into my arena, right? So with a monster like this, you want to make sure that you have your timing right. So you're going to be looking for that, when do you need Kali to go? Who needs the buffs that Kali can deliver, right? So for me, I need my Odin to get them. So she's just slightly quicker than my Odin, but I want her to be able to do damage as well, right? So she's on a Fatal Blade set, and the reason I don't have her on Will is because I have my Wusa to help me out. So Fatal Blade, she gets all the attack power that she needs. She's got a little bit of speed, good crit rate, okay crit damage, but she's hitting on average for about 34,000, and my Odin's about 37, 36, 37. So as long as you're hitting something, average HP, average defense, whatever, because it ignores defense. That's the important part. It's only attacking against their HP, right? So you don't have to worry about, it's a defensive tank unit. Well, perfect. It's going to get deleted and you're done. But once again, it's a 3-star unit, super easy to build up, and amazing to use to just clear out one unit that's bothering you. It works really, really well against Feng Yan's, the Wind Panda Warrior. But it's an easy unit to build. It gives buffs, and once again, you get a really a good fatal set just from going through scenario and continuing and playing through the game. So by the time you get to level 50, you already have a fatal set that you can put on the Collie. Alright, so everybody's big one, and it's amazing for giants, it's really good, is Lucian. So I've got 2 built. So this is my rep monster. If you're a friend of mine, you've seen it before. But Lucian is somebody that you want attack, crit rate, crit damage. And there's a bunch of different ways that you can build him, right? If you're looking and you want a fast Lucian, well, you can put him on Swift. Attack, crit damage, attack, really good speed subs, really good crit rate subs. If you want a fat Lucian, and I know there's been some videos out there recently about that, right? You go attack, crit damage, attack on Fatal or Rage, and just as many attack subs as you can get, and just get, I've seen the attack powers at like plus 2200, right? 2300, and it's hitting for, 13,000 per card. I think mine hits for about 10,000 per card right now. But you can get huge damage out of him, and it's all about how you want to build him, right? So if you want a fat Lucian, you need somebody that's going to give him full attack bar right away. If you're like me, I use a stripper, so I use a Tiana who gives an attack bar buff, and then I use a Bastet who gives an attack bar buff and an attack buff, and then I use my Lucian, and I just wipe the team out, right? It's a great cleave team. But this one, I will show you the runes. He is on Rageblade, and I think it's easily my best rage set. I don't have a whole ton of good rage sets. So the normal attack, he'll be slot 4 crit damage. He does have some good crit rate and crit damage. He cannot have attack on this slot, so I guess that's kind of the way it is. That's not a bad rune for him. Wouldn't mind a bit more speed, but beggars can't be choosers. And once again, speed, crit rate, crit damage, attack. That's all I need on him. This one, I couldn't get crit damage, so I just have HP, which isn't going to hurt him, right? So that's my Lucian that I use constantly. I use 2 Lucians in my Giants runs, but you want as much attack, crit damage, and crit rate, and then speed, depending on how you want to use them, right? And then the rune sets just matter on what you have. Once again, newer into the game, you're going to be farming those fatal runes. Put them on a fatal set, right? Attack, attack, attack. You're not going to get as much, value out of them as you would with like an attack, crit damage attack. But once again, if you don't have good slot 4 crit damage runes, he is an attack-based monster. You give him attack, he's going to attack. So that's my main one. So let's compare. So this one's 1792 for attack and 81% 206%. Now this is my second one. I just have him on throwaway runes. I don't think there's any set to it. We'll look in a sec here, but it's 300 less attack, 1 less speed, 9 less crit rate, and like 60 less crit damage. So this is what you can do. Oh, he's on Will. So this is what you can do. You'd have no rhyme or reason with these runes. The only reason I have him on Will is because he is a second unit, so that if I hit a Samoth and it comes back, it won't stun him. That is all. But once again, attack. Well, we'll start on slot 2. Attack, right? Speed, crit rate. I don't have crit damage on there, but that's fairly obvious. Crit damage, same idea. Speed, crit rate, attack. And then attack with speed and crit rate. He's probably hitting for, I think 8,000 a card. So not nearly as hard, but I took his runes off and actually put them on my Odin. So it's an easy way to build him, and as long as it's attack, crit damage, attack with speed, crit rate, and attack subs or crit damage subs, he's going to do what you need him to do. Alright, so that's your basic Lucian setup, is as much attack, crit damage, and attack, crit damage, crit rate as you can get, and with enough speed that he's still going to be able to get a turn in. Alright, so even as a beginner player, you're looking, you farm blade runes from giants, you can farm fatal runes from giants. Fatal blade, done, right? Attack, crit damage, attack, speed subs, you're done. And he'll do the job for you. So I had mentioned Immensity before. So mine is on Swift, and once again, it's not the fastest Swift set. He's plus 147. So he's 100 or 249 for speed. And he does what he needs to do. His third skill, completely fills the attack bar and increases your defense and critical rate for all the allies. So you can fill up one ally's attack bar completely. So what I do is I have him move first. He completely buffs my my copper, who I showed earlier, and that copper deletes somebody. And then now he's an attack-based or a defense-based monster with a defense buff. So he's really hard to kill. He's really tanky. And then everybody moves, and then my Bulldozer follows up behind and deletes another monster. So it works really, really well in Guild Wars, Guild Siege. Those 3-star towers in Guild Siege works really well. You can use Copper in Giants, right? Once again, he's a difficult monster to take down. So why not take a difficult monster that can do some big damage and put him into a run, right? So that is my Immensity. Now, I know I've been really focusing on kind of the attack units, aside from the Colleen, but everyone's first useful healer, right? Like, Colleen has her place. I know Lulu, I don't have a Lulu built, so I can't really show you one. But your first, like, everyone's first, I want this healer is Chasun. And so, you know, you just want tankiness. HP, defense, and speed. So mine is going to be speed, HP, HP. With some defense subs, a little bit of speed. She's not the fastest, but I don't really use her anymore. I don't need to use her for what I have in my kit, but as a beginner player, if you do get a Chasun, speed, HP, HP. Speed, defense, HP, with some attack subs. Her second heal, I forget what it's called. This one, Amuse, goes off of the attack power. So there you go, right? Speed, HP, HP, a little bit of attack. She'll hit, put a glancing on, and then she'll, help your team out. And she does cycle turns on her own by violent proccing over and over. The last monster that I want to show, I know this video is a little longer than usual, but is Belladon. So I've been talking about healers, and Belladon is an amazing monster to have. And it's a secret dungeon, so you can get it as a new player quite easily, and it's easy to farm skill ups, right? You can get them in scenario. So I have mine on, what do I have mine on? Violent Revenge. First skill, defense break, and then once it's second awaken, it actually decreases attack bar as well. But the big thing is you get hit, you're going to revenge and defense break that monster. Works really well, right? So your second skill is seize, right? So you get to take away the buffs on an enemy, right? So you take away these buffs, they attack you the next turn, and you revenge it. Now you've taken away their buffs and you've defense broken, right? And then third skill is the heal, all right? 35%, and it increases attack bar, which is great, right? So now you're giving your team more turns plus making sure they're staying alive. I've got mine, like I said, Violent Revenge. Swift works really well. I fought in Conqueror 1, 2. I fought Bellas on Swift, and it is surprisingly scary. But it's another easy monster to get, easy monster to skill up, and then an easy monster to rune, right? Speed, HP, HP with some accuracy subs and some speed subs, right? You just want a bit of tankiness and accuracy to get that defense break, to strip those buffs, and make sure that you're using this monster. It's a great monster for beginner players. Works amazing in giants. It works amazing in dragons. Not so much in necro, but by the time you get to like a necro setup, there's a good chance you're going to have more multi-hitting monsters. All right, so hopefully some of these monsters are helping you out. I can go through more next time. This video is just dragging on a little bit. I don't want to bore too many people, but those are some of the 2-star, 3-star, 4-star monsters that a lot of people get right away, don't really know what to do with, especially as a newer player not understanding how, say, bombs work ignoring defense, or, you know, some of the different builds that you can have for these monsters. They don't all have to be on Violent, they don't all have to be on this. Swift is an amazing, amazing rune set, right? So if you're farming Giants, you can only run Giants B10. Well, you know what? You're farming those Swift runes, you're farming those Fatal runes, you're farming those Blade runes, and those Despair runes. They're amazing runes to have. And as long as you're using the right monsters in the right way, with the right rune builds, you'll be able to clear those Giants B10 dungeons way, way quicker than you'd think you would. Alright, so once again, leave a comment. Is there any monster, especially in my monster box here, that you want me to show, or show why, or explain why I have them on a certain build? Or if you just have another monster, you have one, I don't know how to build it. Throw it down in the comments. Like, subscribe. If you're on Twitch, twitch.tv/carbon_knights. Twitter, probably Carbon Knights. Just anything Carbon Knights, it's all us. Just make it happen. Alright, so until next time, Knights, leave those comments and keep those shields up. Well, Knights, you made it all the way to the end. You know what that means. You've won the chance to watch another one of our videos, or perhaps even subscribe. Make sure to leave a comment, and we'll see you next time.